Okay, so with all of the digital media and virtual engagement portals that have been making their way into our lives, what is the general sentiment or feedback around these platforms from the industry?
I don't think there's any doubt that digital media and virtual engagement portals and all of the modern technology, I don't think there's any doubt that it's pervasive. We've seen that during the COVID-19 pandemic. Zoom calls, team meetings, and how quickly and how instant all this digital media is in our lives. But I think just from an exhibition industry and an event industry perspective, what it has done is reaffirmed the importance of human contact. We're gregarious people by nature. The fact that we have a global pandemic that's spread amongst people indicates that. That's the one upside we've taken out of it. But answering the question specifically, I think what is important is that exhibitions and shows like Frijet, for example, will certainly embrace the digital platforms and technologies that are out there. Paperless society, online registration facilities, live streaming elements of an event that is specifically for an industry like the refrigeration and air conditioning sectors. I think that we'll see become increasingly prevalent in the exhibition industry in particular.
Okay. So you've recently held a prototype exhibition to demonstrate to government and other role players that it's possible to run a successful and safe event. How was that received?
Yeah, in November 26 November 2020, we held what I called the Restart Expo. And we spent a lot of time just reflecting on our industry and in the context of a global pandemic, because naturally it had been shut down, people congregating as a concern, health protocols like social distancing incredibly important. And after some reflection, we came to the conclusion that firstly, the exhibition industry, not just in South Africa, but globally, is very well regulated, and for good reason. And we believed that we could put an event together, an exhibition in particular, that could demonstrate that we could hold an event and observe and adhere to the health protocols that were required. And over those 2 days, we were very proud to be able to put an event together that clearly demonstrated to government, that demonstrated to health authorities, and demonstrated to, I had my staff there, I was there myself. I had COVID, I certainly didn't want to get it a second time. We were able to demonstrate that at an event of that nature, that you could put it together and adhere to the protocols that health authorities rightfully want us to adhere to. And while still conducting business, while still meeting safely. So it was very, very well received. And in fact, the authorities like emergency services from Johannesburg participated at a live streamed conference element to that event that we put together. They felt safe enough to come to the event themselves and participate. So it was very well received.
Good. Let's talk a little bit about the legal case that turned in your favor to host an event.
Well, recently, Huntex, a very well-established hunting show, went to court to not argue the regulations and object to the regulations that are in place, but rather to argue the case of business and business trade to be treated fairly in the context of the regulatory framework that is here in South Africa. So they challenged the classification of the event to effectively, in layman's terms, be aligned with what we see in retail, malls, and casinos. So, for example, any of their entertainment areas, and it's not entertainment in the sense of concerts or anything like that, but rather acquiring refreshments, beverages, things like that, while conducting business on the floor of that particular establishment. And the court agreed with them and sided with Huntex to be able to hold and conduct its event under the guidelines, the health guidelines and protocols, but under 50% capacity of what the venue is able to hold and host. And the venue being very specifically Gallagher Estate, an event or an exhibition venue specifically for business-to-business trade under very tight protocol conditions. So that effectively assisted the industry to be able to, under those conditions, host an event that meets health protocols but allows that particular industry sector to trade and trade safely.
What are some of the reasons that will continue to make Frigier a great platform for both exhibitors and visitors?
Frigier is a unique event. It's owned by the industry. We're privileged, along with Interact Media Define, to be able to partner as media partners and event organizers. But essentially, the Frigier is an event owned by the industry for the industry, and that makes it an incredibly powerful platform. It only happens once every 3 years, assuming there are no pandemics. And why it's so powerful is because the industry believes in it, the industry trusts it, and because of that, the industry participates. And at the end of the day, an exhibition organizer's role and media associated with that is to stimulate trade, to get the conversation going, for people to be able to see and engage and exchange ideas, technologies, solutions for their businesses. And Frigier has demonstrated over decades that it does that, and it will be in a position now to embrace some of the new technologies we spoke about earlier, and really provide a platform for the refrigeration and air conditioning industry to stimulate trade, to have conversation and take their respective sectors forward.